Oh, yeah. Welcome to the lounge. We are live, apparently. That's what I'm being told. 0 viewers. And Steve Stewart is here. And Bryan Entzminger is here. Look at Bryan. He's so professional. He puts the little @BDency, right?
Oh.
Not
hey,
great.
It's branding.
It's a great idea. I mean, why doesn't anyone ever do that? All right. Anyway, so welcome to the lounge, everyone. As you know, the lounge, we have a Facebook group. First of all, if you're not a member of the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. And we also do these live streams. Now we do them once a week on Wednesday nights, but tonight is going to be an extra special live stream. What's up, Daniel? Yeah, we're a little bit early. Arik Levy's here, dude.
Oh, hey.
What's up, Arik? Yeah, what's up, brother? So, and so we stream every week on Wednesdays. So catch the lounge stream every Wednesday. And this is a special one, though, because we're going to actually go through some post-production workflows of 5 awesome people. Bryan Entzminger is on the top right of your screen. He's one of them. Steve Stewart's on the bottom of the screen. He's another one. I'm going to introduce them a little better, obviously. But and we have 3 others who are not here. They're fired. Oh, here he is. Wait. He just showed up.
Oh, nice.
Dude, you were barely fired, Marcus.
I got 1 minute to spare.
I know. And we went live a little early because, I wanted to just say hello and then we can get down to business. So hi, Marcus DePaula.
Hi, everybody.
I'm really sorry you have to live in the same state as Ralph M. Rivera. I just want to say that.
It's fine. I like having him as a neighbor.
They're more than 6 feet apart at all times.
Yeah, that's right. He actually sent me a gift basket today, or Carolyn did. I don't think it was Ralph.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ralph would have probably sent you like windscreens and boom arms or something. I don't know.
Right.
Or a plugin. Ralph always asked me about what was that plugin you told me? Like I tell him these weird plugins and he like really wants but he doesn't buy. I tell him to his face. I say, Ralph, don't buy that. Do not buy it.
Right.
I'm telling you.
He's got
enough plugins. He will. Yeah. So Marcus DePaula, welcome to the lounge. Oh, and look, hold on.
Evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
Brad Hargis is here. Oh, look at this. Marcus. Hey now. Okay, terrific. Oh, and their backgrounds are much more interesting. Oh, see, I stink. Hey, Painless Podcasting, welcome to the lounge. And Heather McPherson, welcome to the lounge. And Shane Whaley, welcome to the lounge. Wow, look at this. This is awesome. Ralph, we didn't need spelling clarification. Thank you. All right, so we're actually all here. And wow, this is StreamYard when they do it this. Oh, there we go. So so Brad, what's going on, dude? Please, what's up?
Not much. I was just finishing a new Cineminute for the Cinema Guys, so that's why I was a little late popping in.
You were a minute late. Oh, Michael, the sound guy. What's up, Michael Helms?
What's up?
Doing a Cineminute for us. We do a thing that we throw on our Instagram every so often. Whenever we see something, we just call it a Cineminute, and we keep it to 1 minute and just say, hey, should you see this? Should you not?
Nice.
That way we don't have to record a show every time.
And Chris Stone is here. What's up, Chris? And by the way, Ralph says, what a sausage fest. Here's the thing. In 2 days, I haven't actually publicized this at all. In 2 days, a certain group of ladies is taking over the lounge.
Oh,
nice.
I don't know if it's going to be a hostile takeover or what.
Are they just taking over?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But what I do know is, look, see, I can actually remove myself from the screen.
Whoa.
Bye.
But now we can't hear you.
So I'm going to let them take over. I'm going to be like, okay, all you ladies, you're all settled in the lounge. Okay. And then I'm going to step back.
Nice.
All right. Well, we got to get this party started. Again, what we're doing is we're going through each of these guys' post-production briefly. So they're going to share their screen. They're going to just very quickly and simply pretty much walk us through their post-production. So it's after the recording. The files have been recorded. Now you're ready for post-production. What do you do? So each of you are going to just walk us through that and show us on your screen. We are not set up to hear any audio from you guys because this is just such a quick overview. We don't even want to get into all that. If this goes really well, I've already planned it, but I haven't actually solved the technical problem, but I want to start doing these in addition to my show, in addition to my podcast. So where I meet with people online and we show and tell and all that, share screens. Chris is changing. No, I'm not changing pronouns. And hello, Facebook user. What software allows this YouTube streaming? This is StreamYard. And by the way, Facebook user and everyone else, you can give your permission in Facebook so we can see your name too. It's in the post, in the Facebook post. Click on that and do what it says. So so that's what we're gonna do. And first up is Bryan Entzminger, and Bryan is the host of Engaging Missions. He's also a podcast engineer and editor at Top Tier Audio. He's a graduate of podcast engineering school. I mean, we need like a gold halo behind his head, or like we need something special for graduates of PES. And all right, Marcus, since you're an audio engineer, I'd give you one too, even though, you know. All right. So Bryan Entzminger, let's do this. Are you guys ready? And by the way, everyone watching, definitely comment with any questions you have. Like if you see something on the screen, you don't know what it is, or just definitely comment your questions and we'll be able to do that. So you want to start us off, Bryan?
Yeah. Let's see if I've got this.
And we already ate into, well, we didn't, we'll start the clock, when you start, but
okay. So we ready? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome.
Let's go.
So I work with Hindenburg. What I've got open here is a Hindenburg session. And typically for post-production, I'll get files from clients in a variety of different formats. I might get MP3s. I might get waves. I might get a different file format. So the first thing I do is I'll open up the template folder that I have for them, and I'll drop those files in, and then Hindenburg will automatically convert those files to a wave that matches all the session specs. So that's the first thing I do, and then I'll just go ahead and close out of Hindenburg when I've done that because I'm not ready to start editing yet. Once those files are in there, I'm going to head over to iZotope RX7. This is what one of the first steps I do is I'll go through and I'll assess the audio, and I'll do both a visual and also an audible inspection of the files. And I'll do this for any of the files in there. So I will look at the waveform editor, and I'm going to see, okay, right here, it looks like I might have some clipping that I need to fix. I'll go in and fix that. And I'll look through all of the waveform for that. Then I'll go back to the spectral view, and I'll go and zoom in nice and tight and look for things like plosives and stuff like that. And then I'll also listen for some of the common things like background noise or mouth clicks, which I take out of my own voice every single time because I just rock at that, reverb and some of that kind of stuff. And then go ahead.
Sorry, Bryan. And since you graduated podcast engineering school, when you look at the spectrogram, you see things in there like Neo, right? You're seeing like all this stuff play out, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a blonde or a brunette, but yeah, definitely see some stuff in there like that. And part of it is just as you get more and more accustomed to this, you start to see things. This isn't a particularly bad piece of audio, so I don't see things like clipping or things like that in this within the waveforms, but I'll see those when I pop back and forth between the different views. Some people like to work with the views where you can see both the waveform and also the spectral view. That kind of messes me up, so I just go back and forth between them.
Okay. By the way, Heather McPherson asked, where can we learn how to create templates in Hindenburg? Bryan, you have a bunch of Hindenburg videos, right?
Yes, I do. I don't actually cover that one, but if you go to hindiusers.com, that will send you to our Facebook users group. And if you just ask that question, I'll show you how to do it. It's not a formal template. It's just a file that I've saved and then I reuse and rename. But I can walk you through that. Be super glad to do that for you.
Sweet.
Anything else on that one?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yep.
So then once I've done all of the things that I can see and hear in, we're in iZotope RX7. The last thing I'll do is just take a look at the spec. And rather than running the spec, I just took a screenshot. Because what I want to see is when I look at the overall piece of the audio, what's the integrated loudness? So how loud is this? What's the dynamic range or the loudness range? And what's my true peak? And based on what I see here, I may do some additional processing to minimize the opportunity for clipping when I go process things later And then I'll also kind of make a note because, for example, a loudness range of 11.2 is pretty wide. So then I'll know that I'm going to need to do some additional compression on this track in order to make it work once I get it back into Hindenburg. When I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out of Isotope. I'll leave it open for now because I don't want to mess stuff up. And I'll come back into Hindenburg. One of the cool things about Hindenburg is it does have the option to auto level different tracks. So if I adjust the volume of this overall region, I can then just fairly quickly auto level that. And what it's going to do is sample that particular region, and it's going to level it to the same loudness target that I operate for everything. When this is done, you'll see that it's going to adjust the level of this region back up where it was. It's running nice and fast because Chrome is consuming my resources. And what I'll do is I'll do that across all of the tracks so that I know that I've got a consistent loudness between the voices. Then I'm going to go through and start mixing. When I say mixing, I mean this in terms of like EQ and compression and making sure that the levels between the tracks are consistent. And so typically I'll use something like the Sheps Omni channel. I really, really like this plugin. This is one that Chris recommended quite some time ago. And so I'll go through this and adjust my the saturation of the preamp, the compressor. If I use a gate, that'll be in there. I just really like this, and I'll adjust the track to taste. I do have presets for a lot of the shows that I work on very consistently, so I have a nice starting point. And then typically at the end of my chain, I like a nice light vocal rider just to adjust plus or minus 1 decibel, just to kind of smooth out the peaks a little bit more. When I've got the voices where I like them, one other thing I like to do is, let's see, let me find the master track. I do like to pull up a loudness meter. It looks like my screen is the wrong size for this. Yeah, got to zoom. Wow, I can't get to that. This is neat. So I'll pull up.
Oh, because is it because your screen resolution is? Yeah.
We're good now. So I'll pull up a loudness meter and I'll compare the loudness of a region of one voice to the loudness of a region of the other. And I just want to make sure that they're within, say, a half a decibel of each other. I know that the loudness for each voice is going to vary between times that they're talking and times that they're not, but I like to have that set fairly nicely. And I should have mentioned this also. I do like to mix into the master bus with effects applied. So I like to use a light multiband compressor, an exciter, and a vintage tape emulator just to add a little bit of that sweetness to this. And so what I'll do is I'll leave those effects on when I'm doing my editing and my mix so that I can hear what it's going to sound like. And then when I'm done with all of that, I'm not sure how fast I'm going, but
you're about 5-6 minutes in, so you're
all right.
good.
So I'm pretty close. Yeah. So once I've got the mix where I like it, then I'm going to go through and edit. And I look at editing as two different things. One would be if a client sends me spec and they say, hey, I want this region from 1:10 to 2:10 pulled out. I'll go through and I'll make all of those cuts. Then I'm going to go through and each of the tracks where that person isn't talking, I'm going to remove that. And then I'll go back through one more time and listen to the whole thing. What I'll do then when I'm listening to the whole thing is I'll link the tracks together so that if I select one, it selects both. And that way I can really quickly cut out ums and stammers and restarts and things like that. When that's done, I'm going to go ahead and mix it down. I typically like to do my mix in 2 steps. One is I'll mix it with all the effects on, but without applying any loudness normalization. That'll help it run a little bit quicker. And then I'll bring that file back in, solo that track, and turn off all of the effects on everything. I'll go through and I'll add in the properties, let's see if I can pull this up. I'll add all of the metadata for that particular show. So the episode number, the title, all of that stuff. And then I'll just go ahead and export that to MP3 to whatever destination, whether it's a file location or Libsyn or whatever other media hosting that they use. And when that's done, I'm done.
Nice. Real quick. Hello, Chris Vaglio, and hello, everyone. Someone asks if any of the speakers will be sharing a PC perspective or will they all be Apple and Macs? First of all, I just want to say, and I don't know, actually, I can look. I know. Actually, no. Oh, it's John Russo. By the way, John Russo, in the post that you commented on, click the StreamYard link and give permission to Facebook to show your name. And everyone else listening can do that too. If you're on Facebook, make sure that you give permission to Facebook to show your name. But I just wanted to mention that the Mac and PC thing, I mean, yes, it applies somewhat, but in many ways it does not even apply. So if we do show all Macs, which I don't even know, do any of you guys on PC?
I'm not, but Hindenburg is cross-compatible, so it'll work on either program.
Yeah, pretty much
So is
everything is.
ARC-7.
Yep.
Yeah.
So everything is it works on both. So don't focus on that is what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Chris Stone. Hey, Mike McCallan. Look at this guy, Mike McCallan. He's like he's part of the California Podcasters Mafia, I think. or is that a meetup group? Chris Stone, what's up, man? So that was great. Bryan Entzminger, thank you for going through it like that, man.
Sure. Glad to do it.
And if there's any more questions from the group, I mean from the chat, Michael Jerry, what's up, man? Michael Jerry.
Hey, Michael.
So that's awesome. So Hindenburg, yeah. Does everybody like Hindenburg? Who here has tried Hindenburg? I tried it for about 5 minutes, and then I was like, eh. But I wasn't gonna switch anyway. But I'm just saying. And you guys tried it?
Yeah, for about the same. For like 5 minutes, I was like, okay, it's cool.
If I was starting today, I'd probably start on Hindenburg. It's really cool.
Right? That I probably would too. That's a good point. Yeah, if I was to start today, but it's like, once you have your DAW, once you have all the plugins, you have everything, it's like to switch. Oh my God. So Bryan Entzminger, that's quite a process. And how long can you talk about the time it takes you to go through that?
Yeah. I mean, so a big part of it's going to depend on the quality of the original recording, right? That's always the case. So if I get a bunch of Zoom files that require a lot of repair, I could easily spend 30 to 45 minutes repairing 2 to 3 files by going through and trying to remove all of the nice things that Zoom does to our audio. Once I'm done with that, if it's a relatively clean recording and there's not a lot of maybe 20 to 30 minutes for, actually maybe like 10 minutes to mix it and get the levels pretty good, maybe 15 if it takes a little bit longer, if somebody's really wild. And then we're probably looking like an hour and a half to do the editing portion. So pull out not only the non-speaking parts, but also the ums. If somebody's an machine, that can easily double my time, right? If you've got 500 ums, it's going to take it's going to take you a couple hours to knock that out.
Right. So do any of you other guys have any questions for Bryan before we move on to Mr. Steve Stewart? All right. Well, so this is, Bryan, thank you for starting us off that way, because that's exactly what we want to do. This whole stream tonight is just on a very surface level, go through our processes so everyone can see what everybody else is doing. And then after this is when we can talk to each other, and, people, like you said, people can reach out to you on social media and ask questions. And look, you even got a thank you from Ralph M. Rivera. Hold on. Someone screenshot this, please. Someone screenshot? No?
I'm working on it. Got it.
Wait, if you don't use Hindenburg, you are a communist.
I'm not sure I can go quite that far. I do like Hindenburg quite a bit, but
yeah, Bryan is the Hindenburg master.
Maybe a socialist.
Jerry.
Wow.
All right, well, let's move on to the czar of the Podcast Editors Club. No?
Czar?
Well, that's a you know what that means, right? It's
No.
the head honcho. No?
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay. Actually,
Better than what I was called last week. I was called the dad. The father
dad?
of podcast editing.
no, you're more like
he was.
the Thor of podcast editing or something. I don't know.
You know what? I'm just a regular guy, and thank you so much for putting me after Bryan, because now I'm really feeling like I'm old and out of touch and need to change my ways.
I thought this was going to take a totally different turn. Like we can't get any better than, or any worse than that.
No.
Well, that's the beauty of showing all different people's production is some people go more crazy than others. Some people take it lighter, different tools. It's beautiful. So Steve Stewart, you, of course, are the creator of the Podcast Editors Club, which everyone watching everywhere in the world should be a member of the Podcast Editors Club, because that's for us production guys. That's it. That's the group right there. Yeah. And you also have Steve Stewart Podcast Production, so you do produce podcasts for folks day in and day out as well. And so, Steve, let's go through your setup, your post production.
Well, thank you. I will start to share my screen. Let me know that you can see it. There you go. Nice and big for y'all. Can you see it?
Sweet.
Yes,
Yeah.
great.
Very good.
And I'm going to go through as if I'm the guy who is on a budget and going through the old tools with the old gear and the old stuff, because that's still what I do. I'm a production house right now trying to get stuff done. So what you're looking at is a couple, these are Finder folders, but if you're on Windows machine, you know what Windows Explorer looks like. Obviously, I'm going to pull some files over from my clients. This is like a Google Drive folder. I'm going to make a copy of this. This is going to be a very short file. This is just the introduction to the show. If I can get it to copy. It's interesting how things don't work when you're live. First thing I'm going to do is just like Bryan. It's interesting because I didn't think Bryan was going to start with some kind of audio conditioning, which is what I call it. Almost everything I do, I'm going to throw into RX. I still have RX 6. I have 7, but we're just going to throw this through a batch process that I've created. And if you don't know about batch processing with RX, boy, you've got to do this. It's up under Window, batch processing. And you can set yourself some templates. These are fantastic. So I just have a simple mouth EQ setting that I just drag and drop the file in, and I'll run that process. And it will take away the highs and lows. I mean, my settings are very light. This is not going to overproduce, overcompress, or anything, do too much of anything. And the mouth clicks drive me crazy. So I have it do that as well. Here's my real simple EQ drop, you know, the high and the low. Mouth settings, you don't need to see that. And you'll see it made a second copy in the folder. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it into Levelator, because what I want to do is just get it to the nice loud volume that's even across the whole process. Boom.
Wait, I want to see Levelator. I don't know if I've ever seen it. That's it?
Sure. This is it. It's all drag and drop, and you'll see it drops another copy right where it came from.
Oh, yeah.
And it puts a dot output at the end.
Wow.
And I have RX put this, you can change the way that it labels the file once it makes a copy.
Right, it'll append whatever you want to the file name. By the way, Levelator has not been updated since...
It's actually no longer going to work on Catalina, and it's not supposed to work on Windows, though I hear people who are still using it on Windows.
But it hasn't been updated since literally 2008 or 2010, 2012?
2012, yeah.
2012, okay.
Yeah, but it still works, and this is, I don't know.
Sweet.
Here. I'm still running it on Sierra, High Sierra. I think it still works in High Sierra too. Anyway, this is the file I've got. So now, once I've done some of the basic conditioning of the audio, then I'll open up in Audacity. I still use Audacity, and I just work in mono. So I'm going to throw this into a mono file. I just did that. I have a keyboard shortcut for mono. I just hit M. You're able to program keyboard shortcuts in Audacity really quickly and easy. I'll go through, I'll edit that. I'll do whatever it needs to take out the ums and the ahs and things like that. And then I'll export it out to the folder. I'm going to throw it into the example folder. Okay.
So that's the mix, or is that someone's raw track?
This was a raw track after RX6 and after leveling.
Okay.
So I've conditioned the audio, because here, if I bring in the original, you'll be able to see there's not much of a difference. This guy records fairly cleanly. You can see he's got some peaks. So the top here is my process version. The bottom here is the stereo raw version. All right. Now, this is an introduction to a show. So there's going to be some templates that I got to pull for this. And this is something that I've got. You can save templates with Audacity. Very simple, very easy. It's the same music that we use in every show. However, the length of the introduction changes. So I'll bring in that copy of that edited track. Here it is. This is the one I edited. And then I'm going to, I can't play the audio, so I'm just going to tell you. He says, live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin show. And then we have the music and up. It's like an introduction to the Tonight Show type thing. What am I doing? There we go. I keep hitting my keyboard shortcuts and they keep throwing up the wrong window. This window is really big for me. Okay, here we go. So then once I've got that set up, I will go and use the envelope tool to increase the volume or decrease the volume.
Whoa, that is cool.
And then once I've got it to where I know where they're going to come. So this is the introduction to the show. The music starts. Hey, welcome to the show. This is what the show's all about. Blah, 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 blah. The guy's speaking down here at the bottom. Music kicks up, and then the hosts actually come on at this point, but I'm going to put that into another file. It's another recording separate. I work in chunks. They send me pieces of audio, and I work in chunks that way. Once I export that out, I'll put it into what I call the segments folder, and I'm just going to call it 01 intro. Save there. Now, that is the actual editing and production part. Now, of course, as I'm doing the detailed edit through this piece here, I would have found, dogs barking or whatever else. And maybe there's some noise that comes in at some point, the UPS truck drives by or whatever. So that's going to be done during the detailed edit. And then let me find the actual example that I had pulled us. Here we go. So this right here, this folder off to the right, are all the pieces and parts to this show. This is all the segments recorded, edited, produced. They're all ready to go. So then I'm going to put them into, this is the finished product here.
All right, that's the full episode session.
Yep, and I purposely put them on 2 tracks. I had a separate sound effect I had to throw up here, so I made a 3rd track for it. But for the most part, there's only 2, and you can see there's all this movement going on. This is a how long is this one? 1 hour and 6 minutes. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the show. But I don't know if you need to see any more of that. Oh, so I export it out as a wave. I convert it still with Apple's iTunes desktop program, just because I like the Fraunhofer converter. It sounds a little bit better to me than using the built-in MP3 converter here in Audacity. And then I'll tag it with ID3 editor. This app over here, I just pulled. In fact, let me show you an example of how that works.
Open it up.
Actually, I don't open it up. The trick is,
oh, what?
Where's the file? Come on, Steve. I thought I was ready for this.
While you're getting the file, we'll bring Jason onto the stream. What's up, Jason?
How's it going, gents?
How you doing? I'll introduce you after Steve's done, but I didn't want him to sit in the waiting room.
So
Poor guy, just sitting there by himself.
Sitting here by myself. Nobody loves me.
All right, let's pretend like this is the final produced version here, but it's got no tags on it. This file right here, and let me get rid of some other stuff. So I will just drag and drop it into that, and it'll pop open the window. Now, I don't know if that's a Mac thing. I imagine Windows has some of that feature as well. I've got so many clients that I also have a bank of templates, so I can go into this folder here. I just opened up load.
There's file load tag data. Yep.
And then there's one of my clients, and it's got a lot of that data already in there, so I don't have to add that stuff. This is something people say, do you need 83 tags? You don't, but this takes me literally 30 seconds, if that, to put in the title, the description, the artist name, and the rest of it's already in there. So it doesn't take me long. And then once that's done, I will upload it to the media host, and we're done. Questions?
Wow. Great job getting through that. Oh, and he just yanks his screen off the screen.
Dropping the mic.
He dropped the mic. Oh,
yeah. That process that we just did in about 5 minutes takes about 3.5 hours. So,
yeah, I was gonna say, you guys. Does anyone have any questions for Steve? Any in the chat? But I actually like how you showed how that first thing you showed was like you were producing the intro of an episode. So it was the music, the intro, and the music. You mix that as its own session. You get that right. And then you mix that down to a stereo file or mono, whatever. And then you bring that piece into the big episode session and then mix it in that way. I like that too. Cause I often go back and forth, like, cause you could do that all in one session, but somehow it's sometimes easier to do it in smaller, 1 or 2 smaller sessions, right?
Yeah, there's no way. Cause if I went back and let me show you my screen, I'll show you how I get, most of the time I get my files from my clients. And that is, get this out of the way. So here's a Dropbox folder with some of the folders I've synced over to my computer. And there's 3 tracks from one guy. There's a couple tracks from another. And then a third one. This one right here is 40 minutes long. And this one here is 21. So you can see there's a lot of stuff inside of each one of these files. And then this is actually the same place where I put the final version that I get back to my client. This client specifically wants the whole thing back in WAV. And then he goes through it one more time. I don't actually upload for him. It's very unusual, but that's the way he goes through and runs it through Descript and makes sure that all the questions are good and things like that too.
And using Audacity like that, are you, are you saving a lot, or are you careful with saving and crashing and everything?
Yeah. I'll always save. It's a big project. I'm saving it into another folder. There's a segments folder. There's an archive folder. I'll put it in the archive folder. That way I've got it. Because I get interrupted here a lot. There's always stuff going on. So I'll always keep a copy, just because there's going to be a time when I got to let the stupid dog out or something like that,
Right. So Arik wanted to know how come I don't have facial hair? Because I shave, I guess. Am I the only one? No, Jason. Well, that comment was before you.
Yeah.
You.
I'm smooth.
Smooth. I just want to remind everyone, if you're not a member of the Podcasters Lounge Facebook group, please join that group. And as you know, this whole thing is brought to you by Podcast Engineering School. So if you ever want to learn how to produce podcasts professionally, the school is there for you, for everyone. And so next up is Marcus, but Jason is here. So let's just say hi to Jason. Hi, Jason.
Howdy. Ooh, howdy.
Wait,
What'd I
don't they
miss?
say that when you wave in your video that it gets people's attention or something?
Oh,
on Facebook or something? No, somewhere it said like if you make a video for Facebook, you should literally wave your hand in the beginning.
really?
Because people see it on their feed and they're like, "Who's that waving?" No?
Huh.
That makes sense.
Learn something new every day.
We're all gonna have to try it now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy. Yeah, there you go. See, everyone looked at Steve.
It works.
Jazz hands.
All right.
Jazz hands.
All right, so we're gonna let's move on to Marcus DePaula. We're doing really good on time. This is awesome. I'm having fun. Is everybody having fun? If you're here and you're in the chat and you're having 1 ounce of fun, please type 1 into the chat, please. 1 if you're having fun. All right, and next up is Marcus DePaula. Oh, here we go. Oh wait, that was you, Brad. Oh, geez. Well, it counts. He's having fun.
Can we also do grams too? Like if we're having grams of fun, is that okay?
Grams.
Yes.
Yeah. For the Canadians watch.
Yeah, that'll be a 2, not a 1.
Michael Jerry 1. Oh, Heather wins the prize here for that. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's a U2 song, right? Yeah. Tom Schuneman, what's up, Tom? Current PES student, Tom Schuneman.
Nice.
Everyone wish him luck.
good luck.
All right, so Marcus DePaula, you are up. You are an audio engineer, podcast producer, and website designer at Me Only Louder. And Ralph M. Rivera loves that name so much, he had it tattooed on his right leg, his left leg, his right arm.
And a couple other places that we won't.
And I was about to say a couple things, but wait, hold on. Let me mute myself and say it. I just need to say it. Okay.
Well, nobody will be able to see it because they got to look at it from 6 feet away anyway. You can't read it that far away.
All right. And by the way, all of you have been on my show, which I sincerely thank you for. Bryan Entzminger, who went first, you were on episode 119 of the Podcast Engineering Show. Steve Stewart, you were on episode 63 of the Podcast Engineering Show. And Marcus DePaula. Yeah, I'm making the rounds because people need to come, especially you, Jason. We actually emailed about this because
Yeah, I'm ready whenever.
I'm
stuff.
in the next week or two, I'm going to be, you'll hear from me. Don't worry. And Marcus was on episode 157. So, Marcus, take it away, man.
Let's
show us your magic.
Share screen. Oh boy.
Beavis
My
and
security.
Butthead style?
Yeah.
Love
My
that.
security thing is not wanting to let me share the screen. Here we go.
Shut up. I am Cornholio. I mean, seriously, is there a more classic character in comedy than Cornholio?
I don't think
so.
That's why I've got him at my fingertips at all times.
That is nice.
All right.
All right, Marcus's screen. Here we go.
You guys see my screen?
Yeah, you made it nice and bigger too. Thank you.
Yes, I did. Yeah. So stuff's not fitting. And I usually use 2 screens too, but my process is very similar to Bryan's, but I use Logic instead of Hindenburg. And I used to use Audition before this, but I had to do some music stuff and I found some other workflows that helped me speed things up a little bit in Logic. But the one thing that is slow, you saw the waveform load. It does that every time I have RX7 open to re-render the waveform for the whole file. And this is a long interview. But I use a control device called a Contour Shuttle Pro V2.
Good man.
Which is this guy. Yeah. So I've got button, key shortcuts and stuff there that I've got assigned to everything. And the jog dial actually does zoom in, zoom out and all that stuff. So, I'm zooming in and out with the jog dial and I can scroll right and left with the ring. But this is an interview that I'm working on for episode 2, this new podcast I'm working on for a artist with a famous author. And this was done via clean feed. I already cleaned up Max's audio a little bit. This audio here was recorded by the artist. He's a musician, so he has a Universal Audio Apollo twin that he records on with his SM7B, and then he sends me the file. But I also record on clean feed as a backup. But this is his file, which I have not cleaned up yet. And so once I drop him into the session here, and this is like my template for him. I've got the music, and there's some commercial breaks and stuff that we're doing in there for ads, mid-roll ads and stuff. So I actually drag the actual interview to the end at first to make it fit, and then I'll move this stuff over, which I usually do first, but I haven't had time to do that today. But then I'll open it in with my keyboard shortcut into RX7. So, and I'll do a lot of what Bryan already covered, so I won't do that again. But one thing that I do right off the bat is I'll and again, I'm using my shuttle to zoom in and out here. I'll find these spaces where there's no speaking and where there's this is the headphone bleed coming in, but I'll just kind of sample it like this, and I'll do learn voice denoise, and then I will unselect it so it highlights the whole file, and you can see here the wave. And I usually start at 2 threshold reduction of 20 dB, and then I'll render the whole file, and it's going to take a little longer than usual because Chrome is hogging my processing power tonight. Plus I'm on a MacBook Pro. I don't have a nice iMac Pro like Chris has one of these days. I'll get a second.
Well, by the way, RX does not use multiple cores,
multi-thread, right. But the RAM and all that stuff, it's in graphics. So you can see how it just made it completely black. Where that blue fuzz was, which was the noise, and that was his air conditioner. And he actually has a nice studio, but it's not bad. But once I compress it and everything, you can hear the noise. Then I'll run the mouth declick almost always, unless they're really good. And then what I'll do is I'll actually switch, because like Bryan, I don't like the overlay wave thing, but I'll go through here and see how these peaks are off the screen. I'll actually go through and manually turn them down. So I'll zoom in. And this is similar to a lot of what like Steve is doing with the levelator. But I've got it set to a key shortcut, so I can just bump it down 1 dB at a time. This is a plosive right here. Look at this. So see how that is bright white. So I'll go to the brush here, and I'll click on instant process, and it's on attenuate, and then I'll just paint over that right there, and bye-bye. And so that's the natural way, because usually my clients don't have a ton of plosives. It's just every once in a while. But you can see how it got rid of that pretty good. So then once I do that, I actually am one of the few freaks that uses normalize. Once I get all of these errant peaks out of the way, and I got to go back to my highlight tool here, and I'm not going to do that because it'll take me like 5 minutes to get all these taken care of, but I want to get them all kind of around this ballpark, and then I will normalize up higher than I really want to minus 0.2 dB, because then if I do it now, it's going to actually turn it down, but it actually didn't do anything because it's already there. But and then I'll save this and then open it in Logic, go back to Logic. And then the very next thing I do is I will do reduce, what is it called? Remove silence from audio region, which is the same thing as strip silence in Pro Tools. And this is one of the main things that I wish Hindenburg had, I wish Audacity had, I wish Audition had, but only Pro Tools and Logic have it. And what it does is I open this up, and then I change this minimum time to 1 second. I change this to 0.2 seconds for pre-attack, and I leave that post-release at 0. The 28, sometimes I'll have to adjust this if the other person is speaking really loud, but you can see here what it's going to leave. All these blue boxes are what it's going to leave. And then I'll do OK, and then it slices it up nicely so I don't have to manually delete all this stuff. And then I'll go and do this one too. Remove silence from audio region. Now, the trick with doing it this way, which took me a while to get used to at first, instead of keeping it all in one block, is when you make edits to drag things around. Like if I were to cut, and I've got my mouse shortcut to cut with the one of the third trackball buttons that I have, so I don't have to switch tools. You can see here, that's command click basically right here. I can cut easily, and I can also undo. But if I don't know what word this is because I can't hear it, but and then I'll delete that. And if I if I just drag this over, it would mess up the alignment with the discussion. So what I have to do, I have a button map to select to end, and then I'll drag all that over.
Right. So it selects all the clips from your cursor all the way to the end, and then you drag them all to the left. Awesome.
And I wish I could use ripple delete in Audition. There's something similar in Logic. I can't remember what it's called, but since I slice up my files up front like all this, the ripple delete will only work for the one file that's highlighted. So the ripple delete only works if you have a block of files and you highlight. And I have to change this to, I don't even know what to change it to because I don't do it, but like in Hindenburg, like Bryan was doing, you highlight it and highlight both and cut both out, and then you ripple delete and both of them move. So I can't use ripple delete. So, and then, so I do all my editing first. I've got a template with all my plugins. That's what these are called. Thank you. And I use Console 1, which has a hardware controller. It's a channel strip. And then I've got my de-esser and Ozone 9 I use as a limiter. But Console 1 is a plugin, looks like this, but I don't use this. It actually has a heads-up display. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Big black screen. And so this shows me, the waveform. It shows when I turn the knobs on the controller, it shows, and here's my gate. If I turn it on, compressor, threshold. And so, and you can swap out each of these modules. I've got the equalizer and the gate and the saturation. This drive right here, character and drive, is saturation, and that's all from a SSL console emulator. And the compressor though is from a BCA, the British Class A compressor by Softtube, and it is perfect for vocals. It brings it to life. It loudens it. It saturates it a little more. But you can see I've got my low cut starting on the left that I usually set around 126-ish. For females, I'll bump it up to 130 something maybe. But the value all depends on the analog emulator or whatever. But the gate sometimes I'll use as just a soft kind of auto fade in and out, so that I don't get those pops when you cut if you cut those regions like I do and you don't fade them manually, then it'll click every time. A lot of times when the playhead plays back. So if I gate it just softly, it'll get rid of that click. And then my EQ, 4-band, and I can change and this is the EQs are different for each type of. They've got half a dozen different modules I can load, but this is my favorite combination. I've tried a bunch of different ones. Compressor here, ratio. I do a soft ratio for slow attack, super fast release. This is as fast as it'll go. I actually like to go faster than that usually. And then the threshold depends. I usually like to see the lights on this light up, at least halfway. And then the drive, I usually start around 3, 3.5, or 4. And then if you go to the left on the drive, it makes it warmer. If you go on, it make it more tubey, and then on the right, it makes it more kind of growly and harsh. So I just do a little bit of it. And then I can adjust the gain because it'll start to clip with compression and EQ and stuff. I can, compensate for that. So I don't get any red lights up here. So, nice. And then I have this on my second screen below, which is on my laptop, and my LG 4K is up top. So I'm editing up top, and then I have this pretty much visible most of the time as I'm mixing. I can bounce between the different channels. You can see across the bottom there, each input. So it's a virtual console essentially.
Yeah. So you can be working on channel 1. And then if you want to just switch to work on channel 2, you do it right within that window. Cool.
Exactly. And that's another thing, switching from Audition to Logic. Audition is not compliant with whatever coding they're using for Softtube, so you have to do some things manually, like label the channels for it to show up in Softtube properly. and with Logic and Pro Tools and a bunch of the other ones, it shows up when I label it here. It shows up in this window. So.
All
Does that
right, so
all make
finish
sense?
us up here, Marcus.
Yeah, I know. De-esser is pretty standard. I use I don't have a nicer one, so I do need to get a nicer one. But I simple voiceover is what I usually start with on this de-esser with RX-7, and then my magic thing here is the maximizer in Ozone 9.
Ozone.
Yeah, and then here's where I'll see my LUFS, and I'll try to get it, ballpark, and I do a little additional EQ because I can see here, anything sticking out. So I basically use 2 EQs per input. And then I also have Ozone 9 on the master bus as my final, just the maximizer, just to get my gain properly. And I watch the LUFS here, and I have not mixed this one yet, so it's a little low, but I've got to get the channel done, but it'll end up around, minus 16-ish. It'll hit minus 14, even minus 13 every once in a while. But that's okay. If I want it to average around minus 16. I'm not as super particular about the LUFS as some people are. I just want it. I want to make sure it's loud enough, and because I'm used to doing music, and music is like I don't know what they don't care about LUFS. All they care about is dB. So
like insanely loud. That's what they wanted. That's it.
Exactly. So that's minus 16 LUFS is already really quiet to me. So, and then, lastly, really quick, I use Marco Arment's Forecast app to add some ID3 tags, and I just do that because I like when I send the client files, when they open it on their computer to preview it, it has the title and the artwork and stuff. Just a nice little touch.
Oh wait, you send them MP3s?
I do.
Okay, and then so wait, but is this the actual tagging or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just basic tagging. And yeah. So nothing fancy, super basic. You can do chapters too, but I don't use that because that's a lot of work.
Okay. And that's it.
Yeah. And I export straight from Logic. So I'll actually do it here. And if I do a mono session, I'll do this and then I have to add Ozone 9 and I'll bounce from the mono bus. But for stereo session, I bounce from, and it's not responding for something. There we go. But I click bounce here and then MP3. On this one, I did 96, but I usually do 80, 160 for 160 for stereo, 80 for mono. And then every once in a while, when I do a wave, I'll check this one too. But that's it.
That's cool. Wow, that was great.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Nice. So I wish I could show the picture. Hold on a second.
Oh, no, my setup.
Yeah, because on my show,
go to the podcast page. Tell them, or everybody should go. Not Chris. Everybody should go to the podcast page.
Wait, here we go. See that you can see the picture there. You know what? Let me do open image in a new tab.
And I actually just replaced that Audient ID 14 with a Apollo X4. I just got it last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, there's your two screens, and yeah, that's awesome.
But what you're hearing right now is the MixPre 6. And that's actually my old MixPre 3.
Okay. Oh, you got a MixPre 6 Gen 2?
Exactly.
Oh,
so
cool.
I got the 32-bit float. Baby.
Oh man, 32-bit float. You could basically record at like minus 70 dB and then just boost it in post, and nothing lost.
Right.
Wow.
More importantly, there's no clipping.
There's no clipping. What do you mean there's no clipping?
32-bit, no clip.
Yeah, 32-bit, it doesn't clip. So if it's off the screen in RX, I just turn it down and it's all still there, not cut off.
Well worth the money.
Yep. That's what I use it more for.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't used I only have a Gen 1 and I haven't used 32-bit much at all because before this, like it's not that necessary, but well, that was great. All right. So any final questions for Marcus? Anyone? Is everyone here still alive in the chat? Are you alive?
I made them.
Hello.
All right, what's everyone drinking, by the way? I'm drinking water.
Water.
I'm drinking this.
White Claw raspberry.
Oh, Marcus is drinking bourbon?
Yes.
Good man.
There's
Well,
water
that
in
explains a lot.
What? Everybody who's in Nashville is getting hammered on hard liquor?
I got
I'm
water.
thinking of Ralph, of course.
I've got water.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, you're in Smyrna, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Brian, how far are you from Ralph M. Rivera then? He's in
About
Franklin.
35 minutes. I work in
Really?
Franklin where he lives.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh,
And he keeps
God.
avoiding me. I ping him, say we should have lunch or something. He's yeah, get back to me. I don't know. I think he's afraid of me.
All right, Michael Jerry says 3 for 3. These guys are knocking it out of the park. So let's move on to Jason DeFillippo. You of course are
real quick.
yeah, no pressure. All right, is that Daniel at Roth Media?
Yeah, that's Daniel.
Yeah, okay, Daniel. Okay, yeah, sweet tea. Oh man, now I want sweet tea. But Jason DeFillippo, you are the producer of the Jordan Harbinger show, right?
Ex-producer. Used to be for 7.5 years, no longer with Jordan. Last show was actually comes out next week, or maybe this week. Who knows? Something like
Okay,
that.
all right. So
Yeah.
that's recent. So, but you're obviously producing many other podcasts, including
Yeah.
your own. You have Grumpy Old Geeks, which I see on social media all the time.
Yep, I do Grumpy Old Geeks. That's another 7.5-year-old show. We just did episode 430. Oh, I'm going to show you 439 in my demo here.
Oh,
I think we got
cool.
440 tomorrow. I work with Chris Lockhead. We do 2 shows with him. I work with Kevin Rose. We do his show, and I do the Foundation podcast for their VC firm. And Dan Nitro Clark from American Gladiators. So,
Oh, cool.
and
I haven't heard
some
Chris
other
drop that
random
many
shows.
names. I've never heard Chris Curran drop that many names in one sentence.
Well,
Yeah,
I got a lot more on the wall, but I
Good
don't work
job,
with them
Jason.
anymore.
Yeah. Sweet, dude. All right. Well, you want to share your screen and
Let me share my screen and see how this works. I've never.
Michael
done that.
Helms drinking water in Florida, dude. You got to keep hydrated in Florida, my friend. You know that, of course. And wait, AARP Washington State. Thanks, Marcus. I'm also thinking of switching from Audition to Logic Pro.
All right.
Look at you, Marcus,
Chrome
salesman.
has lost permission to capture your screen. Uh-oh.
It was probably the strip silence that got him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude.
Jason mine did the same thing. I just kind of canceled
yeah,
out
give
of
me
it.
1 second to set this up in security and privacy.
So don't forget, everyone. Well, that's Marcus's
That's right. Get one
setup.
of those.
But this is the Podcasters Lounge. By the way, does
Okay, it's
everyone see this number here? 935 members. So the question is, what are we going to do when we hit 1,000?
And how
Shutting
many
down.
have you had to ban? 937?
No.
I mean, I probably ban 1 for every 4 that I approve.
See, other people are banning. I forgot about that. I thought I was the only one, but thanks, Brian. Yeah, I know. There's a bunch of moderators. Brad, have you banned anyone from the lounge?
I have not banned anyone.
Okay. It's quite an experience, actually.
I'm going to get booted here real quick because I got to turn on screen share, so I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
Shall we talk about the importance of having 2 screens? Chris, do
Oh,
you have 2
geez.
screens yet?
No.
Dude, I'm telling you. Marcus, tell him. 2 screens changes your life.
Well, he's got a 5K iMac, and that one's big enough to be 2 screens. So that's what I used to have.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Jason.
mine's pretty big. Oh, wait, private chat? Oh, yeah. All right. No, I miss things. I'm sorry, guys. If you're private chatting me, I've seen people have showed up here in the they're on the screen in the waiting room, and I'm like, I just don't see it. Terrible. Here we go.
All right. So I guess I just minimize this one and get started. Is that how
Sweet.
that goes?
Yeah.
All
Take it
right,
away,
so-
Jason.
All right. So basically, what we do is we record Grumpy Old Geeks in Squadcast. So at the end of the show, I end up with a bunch of these, and I have a local that I always do as a safety because you can never have too many wave files clogging up your hard drive. So once we get these waves in, then I take them into Handy Dandy RX. And for most of my shows, I have module chains set up. Unfortunately for this one, this is a new computer. I just got a new Mac Mini, 64 gig of RAM loaded, but I'm still getting it set up. But I keep a module chain for every single show that I do because I know what everybody's doing on every show. and I know what their mic setup is. And I've got some presets like, the horrible Zoom show that you have to edit that week, which I'm sure everybody loves. So basically I run everything through. I just do a simple mouth declick, and I do 2 levels of voice denoise, because I found with voice denoise, everything is, if you do subtle tweaks to it and run it multiple times, it seems to work better. You don't get as many artifacts on it. And what I'll do also on mine, because I've got some crazy line noise, I'll just pop in, select that, and I'll do spectral denoise, do a quick learn on that. And then I'll just take that off and just do the whole track, and it'll get rid of all the line noise. It's a pretty basic setup because we're all running, I'm running on mine, I'm running a PreSonus Studio 192 with an RE20, and my co-host is running, he's running a Mix Pre 6 with an RE27ND, and we've got everything kind of dialed in for that show. And most of the clients I work with, we have everything kind of dialed in. So basically I'll go through and process all 5 of these files, get them knocked out, maybe do a little gain change on it, because Squadcast seems to like to knock everybody down about 25%. So have you guys noticed that?
Not yet.
Okay. I talked to Zach over at Squadcast, and he's like, yeah, we run everybody at 75% gain. And I'm like, why? But okay. So I just knock everything back up.
Is that during the recording? But did they boost it up later? Because I've gotten a lot of tracks I get back from Squadcast are very healthy level.
No, mine are way lower than what I'm recording locally. So like if I'm looking at here, I'll just pop up my studio recording. So when I'm recording, I'm just I have a limiter set at -4, and when I get it back, it is usually around -10.
Wow.
So it's like it's a healthy drop. So it's kind of interesting how it how that works over there. But they're also getting ready to set up with that whole new Dolby gimmick. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. I'm just like, can I get a button that says "Don't screw with my audio files, please"?
Just use clean feed. That's what I use.
Okay, I'll look into it. I'm friends with these guys, so I don't know. It might be more political than I want. But anyway, so I'll clean all these up in RX. Just do the basic processing, and do this for every show. I either have a module change set up for them, or if it's a new guest, somebody on a headset or talking through their MacBook or whatever, I'll clean them up individually. And you guys have covered RX already pretty extensively, so I don't see the need to go back through that, because you guys are better at RX than I am from what I've seen already. So then I pop into Logic. I've got don't close. So I've got templates set up for basically every show that I work on. So I'll pop into any of the different shows. I've got all of the different setups and presets for all the plugins for everybody. So I'll just pick whichever show I'm going to do. So for Grumpy Old Geeks, I would have grabbed one of those, but I already did that already to save some time. So what I'll do is I'll bring these in. I've got the windows all set up. So when I save the template, all of my audio files are already set up here for all the interstitials for the different segments for the show. So I can just drag them in as we cut through. Nice. I don't use strip silence. I have found that it is much more, at least for me personally, it's much more surgical if I can keep the breaths are what the problem is for me. I've lost a lot of it'll like clip on a breath when somebody's coming in, or you kind of lose that subtlety, and I'll use those breaths as interstitials as I'm actually cutting different bits of the show. So if I'm cutting something here and like Brian's breathing or I'm breathing, doing a slight subtle breath, it helps me get the audio so it sounds more natural if I'm cutting something out.
I do drag those back out when it cuts a breath off. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just found that it's more zen for me. So I will just literally sit here and just cut these as I go when I'm listening to the show. Honestly, I'll just sit here. I'm like, okay, listening to that. Can you guys hear that? I don't know if it's playing through or not. No.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, this new machine. I don't have my loopback stuff set up yet.
Yeah, no problem.
Love loopback, by the way. My favorite piece of software.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my God. So I'll sit here and I'll just cut the show, and most of the shows are pretty straightforward. One of my favorites for shows that I work on a lot. So let's see here. Nope. Don't do that. Speed 100% for shows that you're used to editing and you can listen to at 2x. Fantastic. I am also using the Shuttle Pro V2, so I've got a toggle for speed. So if I know that somebody's going on a rant for like 3 minutes, and I know I'm not going to have to cut it, kick it on, kick it off.
I forgot to mention that I do that too, but I do it at
editing
75%.
Yeah, the shows I'm doing. I mean, this is episode 439. I kind of know what these guys are saying, and also I was on the show, so I just crank through it. So I'll keep going through and I'll do all that, and when I'm done with it, basically, and this is what a completed show looks like. So
Nice.
this is the latest show. My track's at the top. My co-host is here, and our guest is down here. These are all the different bits. What I end up doing, I drop markers for. We do dynamic ad insertion through Art19. So I'll drop a marker here where I know the ad's going to go. And later on, when I export it, when I do the bounce, I'll pull it out and just mark that timestamp for when I go to Art19, and I can just slap it back in. So from here, basically, I've got on my channel, I've just got a simple Neutron 3 plugin. My
Oh,
presets
that's
aren't here.
cool. I really want to know what you think about this. I've been looking at this, and I
Dude.
really like Neutron 3, but I haven't tried it.
Oh my God, this thing has changed my life. I set up presets for every guest, and I've got everything set for everybody's standard setup. So mine, I've got a gate, a compressor, and an equalizer. And, I've got the limiter going on for -3, and I can bump that depending on sometimes if Squadcast decides to leave my audio raw or give me the 75% knockdown, I can change those. And I've got one set for Bryan, and I'm also using Vocal Writer on Bryan as my guest because he kind of talks low sometimes, and then he talks really loud, and then he talks low sometimes. So basically got just a basic EQ set up on him. And I'm using Vocal Writer kind of out of the gate. I'm still learning the ins and outs of it. I just bought it after listening to your show, Chris. One of your guests was like raving about it, and I grabbed it, and I'm like, this thing is awesome. This thing is really great. So run Vocal Writer on that and Dave's. And Neutron 3 has literally cut down so much of my production time that once I get everybody set up, it's so less work for me to do. So I went through and I set up profiles for every single one of the shows I work on and every single guest because I know their mics, I know their setup, I know their foibles, and it's really just cut down on my editing time because I'm paid by the show, so I want to get these things in and out the door. So once I'm done with this, I'll bounce it out. Don't need to save that. I'll bounce it out, and it'll basically give me because I need to set it so it just spits out mono, but I don't because I'm lazy because it's one key command to make it mono. I use Sound Studio for this for a lot of the different things. So I'll take this marker time now. I'll put it in a little app that I have called Tyke, which is just a little, literally a plain text clipboard that you keep around. And I'll put it up there. And when I get to Art19 and I'm putting in the show, I'll just glance at that and say, okay, this is where my ad insertion point is. Kill this, save this out as a mono. I don't need to save that now because I've already done that. And then I'll take it into, I use the Ophonic desktop leveler. I'll just basically drag this in here, and I just do -16 adaptive leveler, and it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. So when I'm done with this, oh, not that one. I'll wait for that to go, so this, when I drag that into Ophonic, comes out basically as a nice leveled show.
Wow.
It sounds fantastic all the way across, brings everybody up. It's just super solid. And in here, I just do all my ID3 tags in Sound Studio. And for most of this stuff, I've got text expander snippets set up. So like for this, it's like, okay, so boom, done. I don't have to like keep typing all this stuff out.
Wait,
Put it in the show notes.
just text expander. What is that again? I don't.
You've never used Text Expander? Oh my God. Text Expander
No.
is basically what you do is, so you, sorry, some swearing in here because that's how I roll. So you can put in your, your address. You just put in basic things. So this is the best one. I do :CD and it puts in the date, no matter what day it is.
Oh.
And it just does all these different snippets for like Grumpy Old Geeks. So
Got
I've
it.
got the show notes one. So I'm like, in the 430s, getting ready to go to 440. So it'll just pop this in here, and then I just put in the last number.
Got it.
And just different things that you type in all the time. It's just basically keyboard shortcuts for repetitive tasks.
Got it.
So you can just fly through that, throw the artwork in here, and always explicit for my shows, obviously. Podcast, boom, done. And then save this out as just a basic MP3. This uses lame, but it sounds good enough for me.
Yeah.
My host, I basically have to pay for bandwidth at Art19, so we are 44.1 mono 64 because
Nice.
I pay for bandwidth, and basically throw that up to the top, and that is how I generally run most of my shows. I'm like, I'm down for efficiency as much as I can. So I'll set up, like I said, all of those. I'll stop sharing now. So I'll set up all of those macros on the back end for the module chains and things like that. So when I start a show, it's just like, boom, go in, knock it out. Most of my time is spent in Logic and editing, making the show sound good and crafting the story, because that's where I think that's where my talent is like, making sure everything's good. I'll move questions around. Like if somebody asks a compound question, it's like, oh, I want to ask you about A, and then I want to ask you about B, and then I want to ask you about C. Well, by the time they get to B, the audience has already forgotten what B was. So I'll, move things down so it sounds like they asked the same question, like they asked the questions in order and things like that. So a lot of my editing is story based instead of, I kill the ums and the ahs and all the normal crap. But that's pretty much how I roll all day, every day, until I'm dead.
That's nice. What's up, Eric Hunley? Yeah, love seeing
Eric.
Jason on a great mic. Yeah, baby.
Oh, shut up, Eric.
Oh wait, Eric Hunley. Is there a
There
particular?
you go, Eric. There's the other one right here. This one just looks
Eric,
better
I was
on
gonna
camera.
I was gonna ask Eric if he wanted to ask you, Jason DeFillippo, specifically about a certain other microphone that we. Oh, there it is, baby!
Right there.
Oh.
I've actually got this here because I'm doing a video this week. I was going to do the video today, but my refrigerator exploded this morning and we lost all of our food. So I've been cooking and trying to get a new refrigerator today. And I tell you what, trying to find a new refrigerator in a pandemic is a pain in the butt.
Oh, man.
But I'm actually doing a video for my blog to talk about how to use this thing properly, i.e. not talk into this end. So...
We had, what was it, last Wednesday on the Podcasters Lounge stream? We had the greatest. We literally probably joked about the Blue Yeti. I'm not kidding, for probably about a half an hour, and it was great the whole time. And your name came up like
amount of material.
It's just always funny. Well, thanks, Jason. That was awesome, man. Any specific questions? Oh,
I have a question. I have a question. Since you're using a phonic, I want to know. You're running the whole process there at the end. Does that adjust the volume of the music and things like that on you too much to where it doesn't give you the same result that you wanted?
No, I mean, that's the beauty of Ophonic. It knows what's music and it knows what's dialogue. So, I mean, I'm really mad at them because the website has much newer algorithms than the desktop software, and they haven't updated the desktop software in ages. And I've been screaming at them. I'm like, please, can I give you more money? I want this. I want the same algorithms. And I'm dealing with. I did 4 shows today. I'm not going to sit there and upload 4 shows and see if they come out right. I'm just like, no. I paid for the professional license for the desktop software. I want it to be the same, but they haven't updated it in ages. But
I'm right there with you.
When it comes to music and the interstitial stuff, it sounds great. I mean, they do a really good job of differentiating between what's music, what's overlaid dialogue, and what is regular dialogue. I mean, I can't. This has saved me so much time, and I've made so much money because of them. I can't be too mad at them, but I can be a little bit mad because I'm like, update it, guys. Come on.
Well,
but,
and you're processing a lot of the audio before you send it to Auphonic, but in Auphonic you're also using the adaptive leveler.
Yes.
So one thing you could do, Steve, this goes to your question, is like you could use Auphonic but not use their adaptive leveler. Mm-hmm. Then it's not going to try to push up lower volume stuff or bring down higher volume. Like if you mix it properly yourself, then you actually don't need to use the adaptive leveler, in which case it doesn't level anything. It just gives you whatever you gave it, but at the proper LUFS level, right?
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. And I don't do that because I'm lazy and I'm trying to turn and burn stuff. So
I'm with you there
use
too.
the adaptive leveler and it works.
Well,
so
yeah, but here's the thing though, even because you're doing it right all along, using the adaptive leveler, their adaptive leveler probably doesn't do much.
no, it doesn't do. I mean, I if there's a show that it as soon as I bounce it out, I'll listen to it, and sometimes I do have to turn it off. Not often though. I mean, what I've seen, the results using the adaptive leveler are better than not. Even if I sit there and tweak it to the nth degree in Logic, it still gives me a better result than if I didn't turn it on. That's why that's the only thing that's on. Their noise and hum reduction, by the way, is really good if you want to pre-process a track before you take it into your editor. Their noise and hum reduction is fantastic, but I don't need it on the final one because I've already run it through RX-7.
Right.
Yeah, I'm always afraid of running too many processes because then that's why I want to do the processing of the audio first, edit, put it together. I know what it's going to sound like when I put it together.
Hey, one thing quick, Jason, when you come back on my show very soon, I want to talk about Neutron 3, and there's a new module in there. It's something with saturate or it's like character, or I forget I'll find out, but we're going to talk about that when you come on my show because
give me 1 second. I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. And while you're doing that, I'll just remind everyone, this is the Podcasters Lounge. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, please jump in there. And we do these streams every week. We do special streams like this. And this Wednesday, there's going to be a female takeover.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna be helping with that, which would be fun. But anyway, and also, of course, Podcast Engineering School is where you can learn how to produce shows at a professional level. Did you find it, Jason?
So we've got compressor 1, compressor 2, equalizer, exciter, gate, sculptor, maybe the one you're talking about.
Sculptor, that's the one.
And transient shaper. Those are the different modules.
Oh, and the transient shaper. Those are handy when you need one. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no,
Mostly
this thing,
for
I swear
drums.
to God, I mean, for the cost of it, it's a no-brainer. It was like $300, I think. And if and that's always what I tell people when they're going into the isotope world. Go buy a $50 plugin, and then you will save yourself about $2,000 on the upgrades because they give you that follow-on pricing. It's like I got Neutron for like next to nothing. I think it was selling for $350 or $330 when it came out. When they just released it for Neutron 3 Advanced, and I think I got it for like $129. I'm like, okay,
Nice.
I'll take it.
Yeah. The transient shaper is also good. Like sometimes if you have to really crappy Skype or Zoom recordings and there's not much definition in the audio, sometimes you can just use a transient shaper to just help make the transients a little more snappier and a little more defined instead of being just so like blah and smooth.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to play with that then. I haven't played with that one yet.
Yeah, I'll crank my drive and make it brighter. Usually that probably does a little bit of the same thing, but not as accurate as with the transient shaper.
All right, who renders in stereo or mono? I think it's Andy Wong. What's up, brother? I think it actually depends on the client usually. I think we probably all render both for different clients, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But I will say for my show, the Podcast Engineering Show, it's stereo. What about Grumpy Old Geeks? Mono, right? You said
mono 64, 44, 1. This other show I'm doing for the people at mission.org, that's a stereo, 24-bit, full res, the whole 9 yards. Even though we record in mono, their choice. They want it stereo for the intro and outro music. I don't know why, but hey, client, you go with what the client wants.
That's it.
I do stereo for music heavy. Like if there's a lot of music in an episode, I'll do stereo. But yeah.
Well,
Hey,
Chris,
remember
when you used to play
guests, right?
Sorry, what?
You still pan the guests on your show, right? You said you like when we first started doing it, you were panning a little bit left and right for each individual guest. Do you still do that?
Yeah, I narrowed that down. I was panning about 12% left and right. Now I do about, I think it's 8.
Okay.
But I still do that. That's very subtle and slight. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it's like if you're going to put out a show in stereo anyway,
might as well.
Then you might as well just pan them slightly because it helps the listener perceptually. When you play baseball, remember playing baseball in school when we were a kid, and like there was always this guy who wanted to, you knew he was the cleanup hitter because he was the big big guy, and he just bats fourth every team he's on. That's Brad Hargis.
Except I'm batting fifth.
They gave me a walk. It's fine.
Yeah.
So Brad, go ahead. You start sharing your screen. But Brad Hargis, you know him from the Cinema Guys, and you know him from the Podcasters Lounge. And yeah, because you co-host with me the first Wednesday of every month, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You're my only regular co-host, and I appreciate you, man.
I put it in the calendar, make sure I'm there.
It's just wow. So the Cinema Guys, obviously that's your show. And so yeah, Brad, tell us about your post-production, brother.
Yeah, mine is very similar to Steve's. I use Auphonic, Audacity. So it's kind of a mix of some of all of them. But myself and my co-host record theirs separately. So it's all, double-ended basically, because I have the Cinemaiden in Korea, and now with, this pandemic, my other co-host Justin is at his house recording. But the first thing I do is bring in all the recordings into Audacity, and I run noise reduction on them. I run a compression to kind of level any peaks out on it. So let me get in the program here. So for instance, I would run any compression on it, even if it's not loud, so we can make sure everything kind of any peaks level down. And then if I need to, if there's a lot of noise that I hear, I will run a noise gate, especially for my co-hosts who are, as I call them, just the talent that show up. They don't really have the best setups or the best space while recording. So it will try to cut out some of their background noise that maybe the noise reduction doesn't get. And then my final thing is I bring everything to a -1 to bring it all up before I take it and go to edit it. So when I get I do everybody's audio separately, and then I bring them in to Audacity together, and we record in Zoom. So I use the Zoom recording to line us up at the beginning.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Your Audacity look. You're in dark mode? Steve Stewart was in light mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's using 2.4, aren't you?
Yeah, I just upgraded yesterday.
Yeah.
You could tell by the giant numbers at the bottom. And just like Steve, I have my template with my intro music where I have it faded down and up, because our intro is typically always the same. So I cut it into our fades, and then I just open that file, copy, and drop it in each episode. So I don't have to redo that every week. And then as I edit, I will go through, cut out any big gaps, shorten them up. And then once they're all edited together, I export the wave. And when I have that wave file, I will take it in. I also have the desktop Auphonic. So I'll bring it into Auphonic, and I run mine at -15 LUFS. Chris, you and I have had this discussion.
Oh yeah. It's like the guitar amp that goes up to 11.
It's that little bit that I can hear that I like the sound on it. So I go -15. I do use the leveler, mostly because my one co-host Justin tends to fade away from the mic a lot, and I doesn't always catch it in the front end. So this will make sure that it kind of helps bring some of that back up. I also run the high pass filter on it. I probably don't need to, but as I say, when I get to Auphonic, it's kind of like putting the gloss on my my final audio. And then once that is all done, I do everything in iTunes. Actually, I will drop that WAV file in iTunes and convert it to an M4A, and then from there, I will also do my tags within iTunes.
And so now you're using iTunes. Now I know Apple discontinued iTunes or something, but you'll be able to use this ongoing, right?
Well, they're just discontinued, I think, the name iTunes. Now I believe the app is just music or something like that. Like they're just not calling it iTunes anymore. I don't know. I guess once I get to that, we'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Right.
But
So you're not running Catalina right now?
I am not.
Okay.
I am running, I believe, let's see, Mojave.
Yeah, I believe if you go to Catalina, you'll lose all that iTunes capability.
Okay.
But you should be able to use some of the music features. Oh, does Marcus know?
I just know that I've looked for that ID3 tag window, the get info thing, and it's gone.
It's gone. Okay. That's good. That is good to know, because this is, I mean, the part of the process and that I rely on that a lot to drop my artwork in, to add any tags that I need. So,
well, I know where you can get a $15 program and solve all your problems.
Yeah, seriously.
I will probably need that here soon. But then once I tag it all on that's when I upload to Blueberry and we're ready to roll.
Wow. Very good,
So
Brad.
it's pretty streamlined. I have it pretty streamlined, and I don't have, too many steps along the way, but
Sweet. And now we know how the Cinema Guys sausage is made, as Dave Jackson says. So this is awesome. All right. Anyone watching have questions? Please let them fly. I think what we should do is, to keep this nice and short and sweet, is start wrapping up, and maybe we could just go in the order we went and just give you guys a second to, remind everyone about your companies and your websites and your social media handles and stuff like that. So Bryan, why don't you start with that?
Sure. So Bryan Entzminger, you can find me at toptieraudio.com. Top Tier Audio is the handle on all of the social media places, so really easy to remember. And then if you want me personally, at BDNC on Twitter will get me there as well.
And tell everyone what mic you're using.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do I need to run through the whole signal chain or just the mic?
Go for the signal chain. Come on.
All right. So this is the Lewitt 440 Pure. I trolled Amazon or eBay till I found one half off used, so I picked that up used. It's running into a MixPre 3. And then running that directly by USB into the computer. And since I'm not recording this, I don't have any other software between that and Chrome.
Wow, that's how you do it. Good job, Bryan. Yes, it's kind of like a speed round, Michael Jerry, but it's like, tell us about you. So Steve Stewart, tell us, my brother.
I'm Steve Stewart from stevestewart.me. I run the Podcast Editors Club. Ran the Podcast Editors Conference with Mark Deal, my business partner. We're also going to be launching Podcast Editor Academy very soon. And so you'll be able to find that at Podcast Editor Academy. Get on the wait list. We'll be launching that in the next probably 10, 15 days.
Sweet. And your mic, you're using the Fin?
I have the Heil Fin running to a cloud lifter, which won't light this thing up. It's supposed to be glowing a beautiful blue, which is really sexy, which is the real reason why I have it. It's just sexy for video. And that runs right through a Focusrite 2i2 into what you're hearing now.
And when you move your head, it the sound changes. So like, what direction does that mic pick up from? The front?
I don't know. Why don't we find out? Here I am from the side.
Yeah.
Here I am from the front, and here I am from below.
Yeah, it's from the front.
Okay.
So that's just an observation.
Yeah. Once I move things back to the way they were, then I'll be talking to you guys this way, and I'll be talking directly into the mic. Sorry about all that.
Look, you're getting hype in the chat from Andy Wong.
Andy's the band.
And Rose says, this is fantastic. Thank you all for doing this. This is really great. Marcus, tell us.
Marcus DePaula, meonlylouder.com and Me Only Louder on all the socials. And yeah, you want SM7B.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do the high boost on.
Any of the switches? Wait.
Yeah.
Angle it
high
up
boost on.
Okay.
And the roll off is off.
The roll off is off at the high. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
The high boost is on. And into my MixPre 6.2, and that's it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. And Jason, my brother.
I'm on a Shure SM7B going into a Rodecaster Not Pro. And I got a Rolls MS-111 mic switch here. And of course, my handy dandy Blue Yeti, and just in case. Normally, I would be on one of these, or which shoulder am I? That one over there. That's my, my RE20 in the back with my PreSonus 192 which is that's my audio studio. This is my video studio. So it's like I'm still getting this set up. I've got a little Elgato Stream Deck. I'm talking into my Nikon D810. Yeah, this is the first setup. I've actually for a live stream. So just kind of getting my pieces together. But you can find me at jpd.me. I got links to all the different stuff. I'm getting a new website up there soon. I'm going to start posting videos and just basic stuff that I do every day. No classes, just going to be posting tips and tricks. So if you want to hit me up on Twitter, I'm at jpdef and ask me questions. I'm always happy to answer.
There you go. Everyone go to his Twitter, ask him really hard questions. Like ask him, like go look up something so technical and then just ask him just to see his response.
It will probably contain profanity. So don't have the kids in the room.
Good old Texas
and definitely Grumpy Old Geeks, GOG.show. Check that out.
GOG.show.
Yep.
That's a cool URL actually, right?
Well, thank you. I got jpd.me for me and GOG.show for my show.
That's cool. All right, Brad, my brother.
I'm Brad. I'm 1/3 of the Cinema Guys, and we can be found at wearethecinemagays.com. I am running ATR 2100, just USB directly into my MacBook Pro, into Chrome.
Nice baby Yoda, by the way.
Thank you.
Wait. Hold on. Did I? Oh yeah, there. Wow. Oh wow. That's like subliminal almost. That is nice. And Ro asks if this is going to be, if she can rewatch this. Yeah, it'll be available later for replay on all the platforms. And yeah, Jason will refer those people to me. I know.
Yep.
That's
the question's too hard. Talk to Chris.
He'll forward the tweet, and then I'll forward it to Daniel J. Lewis because he's the guy who really knows. All right. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you, everyone who attended. Thanks to all of you for being here. I hope this was a success. I mean, I thought I just wanted to do all this for myself and also to create something new going forward. But I'm so happy you guys were here. Thanks everybody for watching.
Say thank you, Chris. This is awesome. I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot too. I learned a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. I had
Sweet.
fun.
Yeah, definitely. And Marcus, I got to hit you up. I need to get some of your shuttle key bindings because you got some better key bindings than I do. I like using the shuttle for Zoom because I've had this thing for 4 years and I've never used the shuttle part. It's just kind of in the way. It's a hand rest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yes, Facebook user, you missed it, but you can watch the replay and have fun. And so reach out to us, ask any questions you want. We'll be back with the lounge on Wednesday. That's 2 days from now. And it's going to be a female takeover. So please, everyone, your wives and daughters, tell them that there's going to be a female lounge. And I told you already, I'm going to remove myself from the lounge. So right now you see on the screen, there's 6 people, right? And now
he's gone.
He's gone.
Now we can say whatever we want, right?
We can't hear him. He just wave.
This is perfect.
and you can't hear me, but I can add myself. Oh, it's perfect. That's great. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, this is so much nicer all of a sudden. All right. Well, everyone wave goodbye. We're done. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
See you